One thing that is becoming less common now as opposed to your generation is, in your case, for example, you are married to your wife for 42 years. Nowadays, that's hard to come by. You don't hear that stories. Why do you think this is so?
Okay, well, that's very interesting. My son asked me that same question several years ago. Say, what's your secret, Dad? Well, I remember saying, well, it's just luck, I think. Okay, well, I meant that seriously, but now after reflection, I would give you this answer. I would say something like, number one would be not having too much money. Okay, that makes the marriage last long.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
that's number one. We'll get there.
Okay, okay.
I'm very confident of that. I'm an academic.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, the idea of being sick, your health, meaning that when when you become sick, and that changes the relationship. Okay, and that therefore sickness is a kind of a blessing. Actually, it is a blessing in many respects, and I also am very confident of that. And the third one, I would say that there is this established hierarchy, mostly in the economic sense, where one person would earn a bit more than, not a bit more, quite significantly more than the other. Okay, now let's go back to the issue and try to establish it. So first of all, not having so much money. Now I noticed many marriages from my eldest child, my daughter, that's already failed and things like that. The formula seems to that when you have like an equal economic independence, with the income and all that. So when you have this equal thing, I think that becomes a challenge, a very big challenge. When you have this money, meaning your parents might have a lot of money and things like that. So you are easily, whenever conflicts come, then the word divorce would easily come out. I've never uttered that word in my entire marriage. So if you have money, I think that becomes a huge challenge. If you don't have money, then it's quite simple, because most of the time you're struggling with that. That becomes a major issue. So other things just doesn't really come up to the top. Number two, when you get sick, and then your spouse would take care of you. I remember my wife sleeping the next to me in the hospital when I became sick. So I always say to a lot of women, don't worry. Your husband will love you and take care of you and appreciate you after they get a heart attack or they get some very long sickness. So don't pray for that, but that would definitely help. And I'm sharing a real life experience here.
Okay.
So I suffered from a certain mental health or panic disorder that required somebody to be with me. If not, my career would have been over at that time. I was 43, just getting my professorship, and then the thing hit and lasted for 6 years. So that was a very challenging time when I couldn't even, go. If you look at my CV, there's a gap of about 2 years where I didn't give any public speaking because of this panic disorder thing that came to me. So my wife was there because in panic disorder or anxiety disorder, you have to have someone. And eventually she had to she wanted to retire early. And that's where my career was able to stabilize. So that is something that helped. And finally, as I said, this idea of if you have people of the same income, then the road would be a bit more rocky. Because then, if you either spousal, then it's easy to say the word divorce and things like that because you have this separate independence aspect. Okay. So I think these three things, I think, makes this the marriage sort of. That's why I said luck, but in actual fact, it's the blessing of not poverty, but not having so much money, and also the blessing of sickness. Everybody will get sick, but how you get over the sickness and become a newer person, rather than just waiting for the sickness to pass. But you actually have a lot of reflection. The panic anxiety disorder taught me a lot a lot of things. Virtually changed my perspective of life, of people. As I said, you begin to appreciate your wife more.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a true experience.
But Prof, when we talk about modern day divorces and your time when a lot of people, like I said, have long lasting marriages, could it be because that people nowadays, even Muslims, do not sort of focus on the minor things, the small things? That's what you mentioned. From your answer, it seems like the key to it is just appreciating one another, being respectful, being kind. That's all it takes. Is that fair to say?
Well, you don't really know those things until you suffer. Okay, suffer in having to make ends meet. Most couples sometimes, you get into trouble with some financial, then you have to get yourself out of it, and you get into sickness, and then you go through it. I think these are the life challenges that are teachers. Okay, you cannot have one without the other. I mean, you can't get a book and read and say appreciate each other. What does that mean? Okay, I say that the first 3 or 4 years of a marriage will always be rocky. Okay, when you are girlfriend, boyfriend, everything is
Easy.
flowers and all that, right?
Yeah. Marriage
But
is
after
hard.
after the marriage, the first 3 or 4 years, then you get to know each other, and then the war, your constant battle. Both are very healthy, So there are healthy fights.
Yeah.
When you get a bit older, they're just not so healthy fights. Okay, so that I think that's the pathway, and it's difficult. It's like a spiritual journey as well as marriage. It cannot be taught. Like the Lao Tzu says, the way cannot be taught. The true way. The true way can never be taught. Why? Because it has to be experienced. All right. So this thing that you said, understanding and appreciating, only comes after those challenges. It doesn't come with a lecture from somebody. It doesn't come from an advice from another person, but it comes from growth of course, you're reading, and then you're also contemplating, and with this life experience. So, well, sometimes you go through life experience, but then you're not searching for it, then you won't find it. And then all you do is you just suffer through those pains without actually learning. So learning helps, but you need to have the life experience also.
Nice.